Tyler Parsons back again today. We're not in the gym, as you can tell. Today's going to be the things I most commonly see people doing wrong with the driver that's robbing them of distance. We're not going to even talk about speed, but what we can do to help you hit it further. Stick around and let's get those longer drives. Let's start with the most simple thing. Now, a lot of you are going to be coming through and hitting the ball and are very inconsistent on where you hit it in the club face, okay? So we know that we, whenever we're looking at this, have a sweet spot that's about the size of the end of a tee, right? So not even the fat part of the tee. For every little bit that we were off center, we're giving away ball speed. Ball speed is what obviously makes the ball go the furthest, all right? It's not the club head speed. Yes, we have to be able to deliver all that club head speed into it, but we're talking about that smash factor. Now, perfect smash factor is going to be a 1.50 for those unfamiliar with TrackMan or even the term smash factor. We're going to achieve that by, again, a solid hit, delivering that club nice and square. We're looking at trying to be consistent, so this has more to do with technique and getting a repetitive motion so that we can adjust and hit that center of the face. That's where tour players do the best and are going to be better than everyone else, is because they're getting a consistent smash factor every time, putting the most into that ball, getting it to take off. So the big thing that you want to do is to work on that technique, whatever that is. We're not going to get into that, but learning how to return it back down into that same spot every single time so we're getting the most out of it. It does not have to be a 1.5 smash factor. The higher the better for you, but try to shoot for a consistent 1.46 to 1.47. Get that ball speed up so the ball can go further. This next piece has been hit on a lot by a lot of instructors. We're talking about angle of attack. So we know that if a player comes down and into the ball and hitting down into it, it does not directly increase the spin, but we're going to see not a desirable spin rate, as well as we're giving up yardage, because again, due to TrackMan, we know that 5 down versus 5 up is roughly 30 yards of carry depending on the club head speed. So with that driver, everyone likes to chop down into it. What we're going to do to help that out is turn and load. So I need both a good shoulder turn plus that weight on that back foot. If you've watched any of the other videos, you know that I'm a huge advocate of this because this is going to help us produce the most power. But outside of the power component, as I turn and load, now I can go on and shift with that lower body while the upper's back, and that encourages me to sweep it up and off that tee. Again, it doesn't have to be a 5 angle attack. Depending on where a player is, sometimes I'm okay with level, sometimes we want it slightly up. We want to get away from that negative angle attack so that you can pick up more distance. And again, this goes hand in hand. If you can stay back and give me a consistent path, that ball speed takes care of itself that we just talked about. So we can get it, we can turn it back, and really go up on that ball, getting a nice simple launch. So I just finished saying that we can get that nice simple launch. Angle of attack's not going to be the only thing that's going to help us achieve that. In fact, we can have a positive angle of attack and still launch it low. How can that be? What we're going to be looking at is knowing that dynamic loft actually influences launch the most. What's dynamic loft? Again, outside of those unfamiliar with TrackMan, dynamic loft is the amount of loft on this club face as it impacts the ball. So where does that club sit? All right, so if this is a 10.5 degree driver and I come through into here, we can tell that's going to launch very high, but it's more than likely going to have a lot of spin. The other problem is I have a lot of people come in because for years, tell me if this sounds familiar to you, we want the hands in front as much as we can. The problem with that is that now we're de-lofting that driver, okay? So if I come in with a dynamic loft of 11, the ball's not going to launch higher than 11. So what kind of launch are we really looking at? Here, I love to have people in the 13 to 15, but all that is determined upon their spin rate, okay, which is something we're getting to here. But we first have to learn to get that delivered correctly so the ball launches nice and high, and then we can drop that spin down. So remember that that launch is determined by that dynamic loft. So it's not a matter of getting in through here, though a lot of you may need it if you're doing this. This is where, again, golf's not as simple as just writing a book saying do this. We've got to come through while we're back, allowing us to hit up, delivering a good dynamic loft to help control that launch condition, and then we can get into the spin. The last topic obviously being the spin. Now, we have low spinning heads, we have different shafts with stiffness, kick point, torque, a bunch of different things, so a proper fit can help accomplish a lot of those. But I know that if we come in with a solid smash factor, a good dynamic loft, and a good angle of attack, for the most part that typically takes care of itself. So what we want to really do is run through everything, get into a nice position, think about getting over onto the left with the weight while the upper body stays back. You can see the shoulders tilting up. This is going to be a nice angle of attack for us. We're then going to be able to turn around and work on whether it launches high or too low, where the hands need to be, and just run through repetitions. Get consistent. If you don't have face tape, go and get some athletic spray powder. You can spray it on the face, and then anywhere that it touches on that face, we're going to see. So I can zoom in on this head. You can see all the different T marks. They're not from me. Demo head that we've had a lot of people hitting, but any shot out in here is not what we're looking for. It's going to be a very precise and skinny pinpoint. Practice it, get to work. Then once you get comfortable with it, know what you're doing, you can set back and we can talk about how to put some more speed into that, and now we can really boost and make a big change to the driver.